In this episode, we're going to be taking a look at aging your own tequila. Yes, where you can take a Blanco and turn it into a Repo, Anejo, or Extra Anejo yourself at home. Right here on the Tequila Hombre, coming up next. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Tequila Hombre. Today we're going to be talking about taking a Blanco tequila and aging it into a Reposado, Anejo, or Extra Anejo. Now I put in the description below some links to some items that you can purchase to do this. I'm going to do a group project here where we'll go together and we'll age something together and see how it turns out and we can share it. I do have a group on Facebook that's about aging tequila at home, and I'll put a link to that as well in the description. So if you want to join the group project, you're welcome to do so. If you just want to do it at home and follow along in the video, you can do that as well. If you want to simulate a bourbon barrel aged tequila, then I do recommend grabbing some bourbon that you like. We only need a couple of shots of it to season the wood, and we'll show you how to do that. We'll go up top to our demo cam and start showing you guys what to do to age your Blanco. So make sure you have 2 bottles of Blanco tequila and the items in the description below, and then we'll get started. Okay, so the first thing you want to do once you get your supplies is you'll get wood that looks like this. These are your spirals, your aging spirals. So the first thing you want to do is we're going to be doing, the jar that we've selected is a 1.5 liter jar. So with 1.5 liters, which is 2 750 milliliter bottles of Blanco, you want to have 15 grams of wood per liter. So we're going to need 22 grams. So looking at this, when we measure this out, this is 45 grams. Okay, so what we're going to have to do is break this, and it's just easy to snap it. Just literally just snap it like that. And we're down to 25 grams. That's good enough. 25 grams is good enough. Okay, so if you want to simulate a bourbon barrel aged tequila, then what you're going to do is take a Tupperware container, and I've already done it because I started this a couple of days ago. So we'll get the scale out of the way. So what you want to do is just take a Tupperware container like this, and I'll do another batch too. So I'm going to put this in here to age. This is Blanton's bourbon. So what you want to do is put your spiral in like this and just kind of get it nice and wet. Okay, like I did. This is a stave that I'm going to do with this demonstration. This is from a wine barrel. This is medium toasted American oak, and it's soaked in Blanton, so it should be really good and really close to a bourbon barrel aging type of flavor. So you want to get that spiral just kind of wet here, and then what you're going to do is you're going to seal it up like this. And it could be any size container that you have. You just don't want to use too much bourbon, so anything where you don't have to. And then what you want to do, since the end of the spiral in this is out of the bourbon, just occasionally when you see it, roll it around a little bit inside the container. Make sure it gets bourbon soaked into it good. And we'll let that sit for a couple of days. So we'll put this aside since I've already got one already aging. All right, so then what we're going to do is we're going to take this and the netting bag that we told you guys to purchase. We're going to go ahead and put the wood inside the netting bag. And this way, when we're done aging the tequila, we can take it out of our jar, which is also in the description. This is a 1.5 liter jar that you can purchase. And it says, you know, when you get it, you'll know it's 1.5 liters because it says on the bottom 1.5 liters. Can you see that? There you go. 1.5 liters. So this is 1.5 liters, which will take 2 bottles of Blanco. So then what we're going to do is we're going to take this bag with the wood in it. We're going to secure it up. And this makes it easy for us to remove the wood when we're done aging without having to stick our hand all the way down into the tequila to do so. We're going to put this in the jar like a tea bag. As if we're making like sun tea. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take our 2 bottles of Blanco tequila and we're going to fill up the jar. So I'm using, if you saw the review that I just did, I'm using the El Mexicano Blanco that I like so much. You can see that here. It's on the bottle. And I'll put a link to the review if you haven't seen the review yet. Up above. El Mexicano. I'll put a link right up at top and you can check out the review. It's a really good Blanco. So this should be a really nice aged tequila. Should make a really nice... I'm going to shoot for an añejo or extra añejo on this batch, I think. So we're going to top it off all the way. Now, the reason why we selected the amount of oak that we did is because of the surface area of the wood that will be facing, that will be touching the tequila. Inside our standard barrel, which is 53 US gallons, you can match it up so when it's 53 US gallons of of tequila in one of those barrels, so it's equivalent to 2,627 milliliters of tequila in a barrel. And then so that's equivalent to 267.5 bottles of tequila out of each barrel, which is equivalent to 44.5 cases of tequila, you know, to fill a barrel. Now, when it sits in a barrel, you get what's called angel share, where the wood in here is going to breathe. It's actually going to shrink and expand and shrink and expand and shrink and expand. And as it does so, it's going to be drawing the tequila inside the wood, and it's going to be pulling out some of the stuff like vanillin and stuff like that adds the chocolate and vanilla flavors to it. It's going to give a little bit of a woody oakiness to it as well. And then the bourbon that was left inside the wood when it was breathing, when you're letting it sit for a few days, is also going to be drawn out. So you're going to get some of that bourbon flavor in there as well. Now what happens is when the wood breathes like that and it draws the tequila in and out of the wood, some of the alcohol evaporates, and it's called angel share. So when you end up, after the aging period, draining your barrel, there's less in there than what you originally put in. But with doing it with glass jars like this, we don't lose any to the angel. So all 1.5 liters of Blanco that you put in this jar is going to be there when you're done, which is another good thing about this. And then also you can watch the aging process happen, which is really cool. If you try to use those home barrels, which are made out of old barrels, so a lot of the goodness in the wood is gone already. It's depleted wood. So you don't really get as good a flavor out of using these spirals or these staves like or what they call dominoes like I am now. So we're going to let this sit now for a few weeks, but as we do episodes, we'll check in and see what it's looking like so we can track it over time. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and click the notification button so every time I post a video, we can see how our projects are progressing. And also, if you join my home aging group in the description below, we'd like to see pictures of your projects as well and how it's progressing and what you think. And we can all do this together and have a good time. And then we'll do tasting notes and stuff together at the end to see what we think about it. All right? So comment below. Let me know what you think of this project. Are you having fun? You have any questions? Comment below with your questions. I'd be more than happy to answer them for you. Actually, I'm going to put this drawstring inside the... Make sure you put the drawstring inside the jar, because if you don't do that, tequila will seep out. So make the strings in the jar. It'll float on the top. All right, so if you have any questions about this whole project, feel free to ask below. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions for you. Let's have fun together. And until next time, like I always say, life is too short to drink bad tequila. Salud.